Once upon a time, in a distant land, there lived a husband and wife who deeply wished for a child. Behind their house was a sorceress's garden, full of beautiful flowers and vegetables. Among them grew a green plant called Rapunzel. The woman longed to eat this plant so badly that she became weak, and her husband agreed to bring her some. He secretly entered the garden, but the sorceress noticed him and stopped him. She forgave him only on the condition that she could take the child that would be born. A baby girl was born, very beautiful with golden hair, and the sorceress named her Rapunzel. She took the girl away and locked her in a tall tower that had neither a door nor stairs. Whenever the sorceress came, she stood at the base of the tower and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would lower her long hair from the window, and the sorceress would climb up. One day a young prince saw this. He repeated the same words and climbed into the tower. Rapunzel and the prince fell in love and planned to escape together. But the sorceress discovered their secret. Enraged, she sent Rapunzel to a distant desert and threw the prince from the tower. The prince survived but was blinded and wandered for a long time. At last, fate brought them together again. Rapunzel's tears fell upon the prince's eyes, and his sight was restored. They returned happily to the kingdom and lived long lives filled with love. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a cozy house in the forest. Papa Bear, who was big, Mama Bear, who was medium-sized, and Baby Bear, who was small. One morning, Mama Bear made porridge for breakfast, but it was too hot to eat. So the 3 bears went for a walk while it cooled. While they were gone, a little girl named Goldilocks came upon their house. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. Curious, she went inside. On the table were 3 bowls of porridge. Goldilocks tasted Papa Bear's porridge, too hot. She tasted Mama Bear's, too cold. Then she tasted Baby Bear's, just right, and she ate it all up. Next, she saw 3 chairs. Papa Bear's chair was too hard. Mama Bear's was too soft. Baby Bear's was just right, but it broke when she sat on it. Feeling tired, Goldilocks went upstairs and found 3 beds. Papa Bear's bed was too hard. Baby Bear's was just right, and Goldilocks fell fast asleep. Soon the 3 bears came home. Someone had eaten their porridge! Someone had sat in their chairs. Someone was sleeping in Baby Bear's bed. Goldilocks woke up, saw the 3 bears, and was so frightened that she jumped out of bed, ran out of the house and never came back again. And the 3 bears lived happily ever after. On a bright morning, a tiny ant found a grain of rice lying alone on the dusty path. To the ant, it looked enormous, far heavier than anything she had ever carried. Still, she smiled. "This will feed my colony," she said, gripping the grain with all her strength. She pushed, the grain barely moved. She pulled, it slipped from her grasp. Several times she fell, scraping her legs on the rough ground. A grasshopper watching nearby laughed. "Why struggle with something so heavy?" he said. "Find a smaller grain, or give up." The ant paused, breathing hard, then replied, "This grain is heavy now, but hunger will be heavier later." She tried again. Slowly, inch by inch, she dragged the grain forward. When the sun grew hot, she rested in the shade. When her legs shook, she rested again, but she never left the grain behind. By sunset, the ant reached her nest. The colony cheered as the grain was pulled inside. That night, while others ate and rested safely, the ant slept with a quiet smile. In a small town lived a poor carpenter named Geppetto. One day he found a strange piece of wood and decided to carve a puppet from it. As soon as he began working, he noticed that the wood behaved as if it were alive. Thus was born the wooden boy, Pinocchio. Pinocchio was very mischievous and curious. Geppetto wanted him to go to school and become a good boy, but Pinocchio often did not listen. On his way to school, he met a cunning fox and a cat, who deceived him and took his money. Pinocchio had one strange trait. Whenever he told a lie, his nose grew longer. The kind blue fairy always warned him, "If you are honest and kind, you will become a real boy." After many adventures, being taken to the circus, getting lost at sea, and finding himself inside the belly of a huge whale, Pinocchio finally realized how important truth, hard work, and a father's love are. He saved Geppetto and sincerely repented for his mistakes. Because of his kindness and bravery, the blue fairy turned Pinocchio into a real boy. Thus ended the journey of the wooden puppet, and the life of a kind, honest boy began. Once upon a time, a small snail lived in a green garden. He moved very slowly, but he had a big heart. One morning, he heard that the flowers at the far end of the garden had no water. Everyone was in a hurry, but no one dared to travel such a long way. The snail said, "I may be slow, but I will get there." He placed a small leaf on his back to carry water, and began his journey. Along the way, he helped ants, rested in the shade with a beetle, and finally reached the spring. When he returned to the flowers, they bloomed again. The garden shone brightly, and everyone learned this lesson. It's not speed, but kindness and patience that complete the mission. Once upon a time, near the edge of a forest, a mother pig lived with her 3 little piglets in a small hut. The piglets had grown up, and one day their mother said, "My children, it is time for you to learn how to live on your own. Each of you must build your own house and be careful, because a wicked wolf lives in the forest." The 3 piglets said goodbye to their mother and set off on their journey. The first little pig was very lazy. Along the way, he found some straw and thought, "Why should I work hard? This straw is more than enough." He quickly built a house of straw and spent the rest of the day singing and playing. The second little pig was a bit wiser. In the forest, he found some wooden sticks and decided, "My house will be better than a straw one." He built a house out of wood, but he did not take much care to make it strong. The third little pig was the smartest and most hard-working of all. He said, "If the wolf comes, a weak house will not protect me." He spent many days collecting bricks, carrying heavy stones, mixing clay, and patiently building a strong brick house. While his brothers played, he worked. One day, the wicked wolf appeared in the forest. He was hungry and smelled the pigs. He went to the straw house and shouted, "Little pig, come out, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." The pig was frightened and did not come out. The wolf huffed and puffed. Woo! The straw house fell down immediately. The first pig ran to his brother's wooden house. The wolf followed them to the wooden house and shouted, "Come out, both of you, or I'll blow your house down." The wolf huffed and puffed once, then again, and the wooden house collapsed. Both pigs ran to the third brother's brick house. The wolf became angry and went to the brick house. He huffed and puffed with all his strength, but the house did not move. He tried knocking on the door and climbing through the window, but nothing worked. "I'll go down the chimney," shouted the wolf. The clever little pig heard this and quickly boiled water in a large pot and placed it under the chimney. When the wolf came down, he felt the hot steam, burned himself, and ran away into the forest, howling in pain. From that day on, the wolf never returned. The 3 little pigs lived together in the strong brick house, worked hard, helped one another, and lived happily. Their mother often visited them and proudly said, "Hard work and wisdom will always protect you." Once upon a time, a hare was very proud of how fast he could run and often mocked others. The tortoise calmly said to him, "Let's have a race and see who reaches the finish line first." The hare laughed and agreed. The race began. The hare ran so fast that he was soon far ahead. He thought, "The tortoise will never catch up with me. I'll rest for a while." And he fell asleep on the road. The tortoise, however, moved slowly but steadily forward. He did not stop, did not give up, and continued step by step. When the hare woke up, he saw that the tortoise was almost at the finish line. The hare ran with all his might, but it was too late. The tortoise won the race. Moral of the story: slow and steady work often beats fast but careless effort.